everyone, it's me, Tanya Oy again. Welcome back. Post number 2 of our Amy's Galentine event. I would like to talk to you a little bit about my story. Then I'm going to get into what our core regimens are, what might be right for you. And I know this might get to be a little bit longer of a post, probably the longest one that I have out of all of them. So I will actually simplify in the comments, putting a little picture. So if you have questions about a particular regimen, you can just organize it in the comments underneath the picture that I post. Probably the teacher in me a little bit coming out with the organization, but it's all good. Anyway, and then I will end with our last trivia question. Or I shouldn't say last trivia question, our second trivia question for today. There will be 5 of them. So be looking for that at the end. So once again, Tanya Oy here. I have been with Rodan & Fields Clinical Dermatology. Our products are clinical. We have natural products in them, but I like the clinical because it works. Natural is great for working on the surface of your skin. Clinical kind of heals your skin from the inside out. So that's kind of a big difference between the natural and the clinical. Natural is great if it works for you, but for a lot of people that doesn't work. So that's why we've got different options for people. I've been with Rodan & Fields for about 3.5 years now. Absolutely love my job of teaching, and I love having what I call my social side gig of working with Rodan & Fields in clinical dermatology. It's my virtual business that I can work from anywhere at any time that I need to or want to. It's also helped introduce me to a lot of different people. What really got me started with it was how I discovered it. A friend of mine introduced me. I was dealing with facial redness. As you can tell, it's gone. Love it. But I was dealing with facial redness. I was that person who tried anything, everything, anything that talked about fixes red skin. I tried it, never worked. Finally was introduced to Rodan & Fields, tried it. I was actually using the Soothe regimen. And within a month, the redness in my face was gone. To the point, it was so red to the point where my mom asked if I had rosacea, and I looked at her and I said, "What's that?" I now know what rosacea is, and I don't have it. But anyway, that's how I got started with it, and just looked into the business side of things a little bit. I thought, hey, instead of taking on it's a second job, but it's fun. It doesn't feel like a job, and I can be in charge of everything. I'm my own CEO, so absolutely love it. That's how I got started with it. A little backstory on that with me. As far as what is Rodan's about, we are what's called a multi-med therapy sort of business. Rodan & Fields was started by 2 dermatologists. If you have heard of Proactive, which a lot of people have, they're the makers of Proactive. They sold that and then started out in retail stores and decided to pull out and moved into direct sales. And they were just that was their way of thinking, the people who were selling the products anyway. They never actually advertised, but yet they were the number 1 selling brand. We are now this multi-billion-dollar company, which is amazing. But everything that they do and create, and by the way, they are still working dermatologists in San Francisco. So they still believe in what they do and keep creating. But the whole reason they started creating the Rodan & Fields lines is because they're working dermatologists, and anybody of you have tried to get into a dermatologist knows it probably takes 3 to 6 months to even get an appointment. So these doctors worked to create 4 core regimen to help people, like if they're dealing with acne, to not have to go to the dermatologist. Hey, just grab this regimen and see if it can work for you. And so that's what they did. They developed 4 key regimen, 1 for anti-aging, 1 for sensitivity and redness in the skin, 1 for dark, uneven skin tone, dark spots, and then lastly, they created for acne. So those were kind of the 4 main things that people were coming into their office. So that's what they worked on. And that's how they came up with the Rodan & Fields line. So I'm going to share a little bit about each of those regimen to you, how they work, whose skin they might be for. So hopefully you completed the solution tool so you know what to look for, but kind of think about what is your main skin concern. if it is aging, if your skin, you want to work on your fine lines, deep wrinkles, loss of firmness, the facial contour, then our blue, I call it the blue line, but our blue Redefine line is going to be for you. The blue one, or the Redefine, key ingredients, they have peptide technology, botanical extracts that work during the day, and then they have their retinoid science and exclusive peptide technology that works at night. The fun thing or great thing about their newly developed lines that they've got now, kind of within the last year, is that they have choices. So within the Redefine line, you have the choice of if you want to have more of a clay mask type of cleanser, or if you want to have more of a foaming type cleanser. Now I know I have two different size bottles. One of them's from our mini regimen, one's from the full size. So the full size actually is about like this, is what it is. But if you have that more normal to oily skin, you're going to maybe want more of the clay cleanser. If you have the more normal to dry skin, you might want to try the foaming cleanser. I personally love the foaming cleanser because I just love the softness of it, but it's everybody's personal preference. Every regimen comes with a cleanser, a toner, a moisturizer, and a sunscreen. Okay, so everyone has that. That's part of the multi-med therapy, using the right ingredients in the right order to get results. That's what it's all about. So in the Redefine line, you have your cleanser, then you have your toner, which is full of niacinamide and all those really awesome ingredients. And then they have their night cream. Night and day. So I love the fact that everything is numbered 1, 2, 3. You can't mess it up. So there are 3 steps into the Rodan & Fields Redefine regimen. So that is our anti-aging line. The next one I want to talk about is our reverse brightening regimen, which the reverse brightening is going to be more for discoloration and uneven skin tone. Now I have the older version of it, but once again, it has a cleanser, it has the toner, it has your, I call it the medication or the moisturizer part of it, where it works on evening out your skin tone if you have dark spots. We also have a dark spot corrector where it could enhance this even further. But that is working with that. They work with the patented RF3 antioxidant complex and niacinamides as well. And then we have 10% stabilized vitamin C. So something that's pretty cool and new about this regimen is we used to have 2 separate bottles in our step 3, and you had to mix them right before you used them. And now they've brought that down to just 1 step now, which is wonderful. So they just have an AM bottle and a PM bottle, just like the Redefine, which is pretty cool. The other thing I wanted to talk about, since I've got this regimen, is I have one of the little bottles, and a little tip. So all of our regimens last 3 to 4 months, and or I should say 3 to 5 months, really. It depends on which step. All the steps seem to run out at a different time. So I would say on average, it's like your regimen's costing you $30 to $40 a month with that. But a little tip trick that I like to do with my regimens is I like to cut my bottles as they get lower, because when you squeeze and squeeze and squeeze, nothing comes out, but there's still a lot of stuff left in it. So here's what I do with my bottles. So here was my bottle, and I just took a scissor and cut it so that I can get in and get all of that out. Now I've since gotten everything out of this one, but I wanted to save it and show you that tip and trick. And then all I do, once I've cut it, to keep saving it and make it good, I just tuck that in there and push it down so it keeps everything moist and good. And that's my little tip and trick for making your regimens last. I probably had another 2 weeks left in there. So it's a good little trick. So that is our reverse brightening regimen for dull, uneven skin tone. Okay, here's my baby, the one that got me into Rodan & Fields, the one that helped the redness in my face go away. It's just something that started with aging, and that is the Soothe regimen, the green one. So with Soothe, there we go. With the Soothe regimen, it is going to help with redness, and we're actually recognized by the Rosacea and Eczema societies now for this working and to help with those problems. We have our new cleanser that we've got with this, has I can never say this word properly, so I apologize, but it is colloidal oatmeal in it, so it helps to calm the skin. And remember, clinical products work from the inside out, so it's helping to heal the skin. So I actually started with the Soothe regimen and built up my skin enough to have enough strength in it that now I can use the Redefine. Before, when I tried using the Redefine regimen, it would, within a weekend, my skin was back to redness. But after a year or two of using Soothe, I now have been able to graduate to the Redefine, so I can work on my anti-aging now, not just my redness. And my redness has stayed gone, so which is wonderful. So I've built up the strength, worked from the inside out. The Soothe regimen does have 4 steps to it. We have our cleanser, and then we have what I call the medication, which is step 2. This is the mini, by the way. But the Soothe is also step 2, is really good for if you get sunburnt. Even though we're supposed to use our sunscreen and not get burnt, it happens. So the Soothe number 2 works really good for sunburned skin. And then step 3 is your moisturizer, step 4, your sunscreen. So you don't have to use step 4 at night. Obviously, that's just kind of a morning routine. So all of our regimens are meant to be used morning and night. A lot of times, if your skin's not acclimated to it, you might start with just once a day or once every other day and build up to it, depending on the regimen. The other thing about Soothe is the one regimen that we can break up and add into another regimen if you need to. For example, let's say maybe you're using Unblemish and your skin is starting to dry out. You can add in the Soothe step 3 to help moisturize it. But that's something we can get into later. I'm going to keep it simple for right now. So I've talked about Reverse, I've talked about Redefine, I've touched on the Soothe, and then I'm going to move into the acne, the Unblemished that I just talked about. This is the purple one. So now the purple Unblemished, this is for adult acne. I have a friend who had cystic acne really badly, and she was able to use the Unblemished regimen and no longer needs to use medications. I think she was on Accutane at one point, and so she was able to stop using all of those things and just use the Unblemished regimen. So it was super helpful to her. The Unblemished regimen uses active ingredients are salicylic acid, and once again that colloidal sulfur, and then benzoyl peroxide and ceramides. So there's kind of a 2-for-1 with the Unblemished regimen. With Unblemished regimen, there is not only helps with your acne, but it helps with anti-aging as well. So the Unblemished regimen has a sulfur wash, and then it has the clarifying toner. Then it's kind of a fun looking dual intensive acne treatment. So when you pump it, it comes out of both sides at the same time. And then of course ends with the oil control sunscreen at the same time. So step 4, once again, all the steps are numbered. Now, after we get into, so we've got that acne line, but if you have a teenager, we have an acne line for teenagers because we know as adults we're a little more patient with having a multi-step program, if you want to say, for your skin, to help your skin. Teenagers, they're more willing to skip it than they are to go through all those steps. So therefore, for teenagers, they developed a 2-step process. I know we adults sometimes can be impatient as well, but for teenagers, it's probably even more important. So the 2 steps, they call it the BPO technology, so benzoyl peroxide and oxygen working together. And I'm just pulling out of the boxes here because I always keep one on hand for my daughter, because this has been within a week. She had a difference in her skin. In fact, using this one, when my daughter slacks, I can totally tell. And within a day of her getting back on it or using it, she clears right up. It is crazy to know how quickly this works. I call them students, sorry. Teenagers within a day will see reduced redness, and over time clears up the acne. Now, sometimes, just kind of to forewarn if anybody is interested in this for their teens, sometimes your skin does something called purging. And when it's purging, what's going to happen is the acne might get worse before it gets better, because remember, we're working from the inside out. So working from the inside out, what's going to happen is it's going to push all that nastiness to the surface, and then all of a sudden things are going to clear up. So sometimes that process can be a 4 to 6 week process, and that's why all of our products have a 60-day money back guarantee. So you can try them if your bottle's almost empty, which it won't be within 60 days, but you can try it and keep using it for that time. And if you just decide it's just not improving, it's not getting better, return it. Not a big deal. Just contact me and we'll take care of it. Very easy process. But so we have 2 acne lines, one for adults, one for teens or young adults. So if you're questioning which one might be right for you or the person you might be buying it for, let me know. Talk to me. The last regimen that I have available is the Recharge Regimen. And the Recharge Regimen is for dullness and blotchy skin. I also say it's my regimen for young adults that maybe you don't really have a skin concern, but you maybe spend a lot of time in front of the TV or the computer screen. So really what this one does is it defends against environmental aggressors. I know some of you are from California, so you've got that smog issue that you're dealing with. Lifestyle stressors as well. Maybe you spend time going out a lot, but it will help hydrate your skin and even out your skin tone. And this is only a 3-step process. So we've got our 3-in-1 super cleanser. And the reason it's called a super cleanser, and there's a lot of people who like to bring this cleanser into their regimen, is because it also removes makeup. Did you know that cleansers don't necessarily wash your makeup off? They maybe just smear it around. That's why I do not live without my essential makeup wipes. They're amazing. But I use them to get my makeup off. Then I go to my cleanser. That's just me. This one will take your makeup off as well as cleanse your skin. So the cleanser opens up your pores, which will then make room for the boosting moisturizing treatment. So this is step 2 of this, and it kind of comes out. It's really kind of a nice little pump with it. And then step 3, a lot of people love this one too, and they add this one into. So not only is it a sunscreen, but it blurs and protects and evens out your skin tone. So kind of a fun step 3 as well. So a lot of young adults love that regimen. So if anybody has any questions about any of these, like I said, this video got kind of long, but I wanted to explain all of the regimens. Pop a message in the chat or create a comment if you have a question. And just an FYI, I'm going to be live at Amy's in a Zoom for anybody who might be going over to visit her. Trivia question will be posted in the comments. Look for trivia question 2. See y'all after a little while.